Good morning, fellas. Hopefully, you're going to have a wonderful day. We're going to discuss some videos. I think, I'm not sure what number this is. It's either 9 or 10 in our series of videos for victory. And we're starting it off talking about the Masonic Maturity Through Scripture, which is the book that is designed to take us from out in the world and bring us into the Holy of Holies. The Holies of Holies is where we are able, we have the right, the privilege, and the ability to commune with God. Now, why would we want to commune with God? Because He is all knowing, all truth, all powerful, and that's where we should get our power from and our wisdom from, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we'll start off with anyone. Just raise your hand, unmute yourself, and let us know and hear what you have to say about the Masonic Maturity Through Scripture. Now, you all have read this book, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Talk to us.
I mean, it's a great book, man. Not not just for us in the craft, just for people in general. It's a lot of information in there that that's very useful. Like things about, I mean, just in general, just things that I haven't looked at in a long time since I came through the craft in 2006. It made me go back and start relooking at my life all over again from the inner apprentice perspective. As a young man, if we don't want to like go there as far as being Mason and things like that, it got me examining different stages in my life. Because right now I'm currently 45, and I mean it's one of those great books of the ages, and the biblical references in it and everything. Just man, it's just food for the soul, man. It's a great book, great learn. Like it's a go-to book, even like in business. Like it makes you, if you read this book, you start looking at all types of things in your life. I'm talking about on every perspective and every aspect of your life, from business contacts, business ventures and things like that. You look at everything the way I think you should look at everything. It really sheds light on the person you should strive to be, who you are, where you are, and who you should be.
But now, don't you think, Brother Moore, a lot of us are comfortable with who we are, what we are, and how we're doing things?
Of course, I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. Even being a Mason, guilty of being comfortable. That's just the way I am. And then I'm feeling like that saying when they say person get to a certain age, they're set in their ways
Yeah.
and things like that. I'm guilty of that, and sometimes using that as an excuse. Whereas, you know, reading this book, man, it make you look inwardly. Even if nobody else can see it, you sit by yourself and you have to examine yourself, and it's going to force you to look at yourself. You laying in the bed or whatever. You might just be chilling watching TV, and a thought will come over you, man. It's like you can't escape this book once you
Well,
read it.
I've always advocated that annually, if not more often, but definitely annually, you need to take a look at where you've gotten to, okay, and where you want to go next.
Exactly.
And if you're going to be honest with yourself, you have to accept where you are in truth. Now
Right.
that's a tough word to deal with. I love that movie, A Few Good Men, when Jack Nicholson say, "You want the truth, you can't
You can't
handle the
handle the
truth."
truth.
Most of us
Right.
cannot handle the truth about ourselves. But now,
Right.
hold on a minute. Do I want you to tell me the truth, or is it better for me to realize it myself?
I mean, it's best to realize it yourself, but when you're not honest with yourself 100%, because some of us are not. I mean, it's good to have somebody that you trust in and confide in, and somebody that can like that's not gonna hold no punches, somebody that you really respect to help you look at yourself when you can't honestly look at yourself the way you should. You know what I mean? It's best to see the truth for yourself, but when you're not really honest with yourself, it's good to have somebody else that you trust and respect that ain't gonna hold no punches and it is what it is, and you have no way, no way to accept it and either correct it or stay like where you are.
But when you tell me the truth about myself, there's a good chance that you're gonna tick me off, and I'm gonna be mad at you.
Always, always. It never fails because no one likes to hear the truth, man. But I mean, but it's still, we have to, as men, human beings in general, but us as men, responsible men that are supposed to be the leaders and ventures and heads of households and things like that. If we trying to be the men that God purposely want us to be, we have to be able to deal with that truth, man. We got to deal with that truth. At some point in your life, you're gonna be forced to deal with it.
Anybody else has anything to say on this subject?
Yeah, the truth definitely hurts, especially if you're not in the right. If you're in the wrong, the truth is definitely gonna cut you like a double-edged sword. What I like about this book is that it sets the beginning of the foundation for what we need to be as men and definitely as Masons. At Mount Tabor Grand Lodge, we don't levitate, we elevate. So this is the first part of your transformation process of making sure as you coming in out of the rain. It was beautiful. You standing out there in the outer courts, and now you get a chance to come into the inner courts. It's walking us on the ground level without giving up any secrets or signs or anything, but it's taking you through each level of the degrees, starting with the base of the entered apprentice degree. And like I said, you got to have that foundation laid. And this book would definitely put you in a different mind frame, and get you to reevaluate yourself. And you have to sit down and really take a look at what it is that Our Brothers is doing, what it is that Our Brothers need to do, so I can get to where I need to be at. So, if you're trying to change it up, man, you definitely, if you haven't read the book, you need to read it.
A brother asked me, matter of fact, this brother, he got my number through you because he was watching your videos. He lives in Jacksonville, Florida. So he contacted me and we actually met up because he's a truck driver. So he was in the area at one of the exits close to me. I picked him up, took him to get something to eat and everything, right? And we were talking about the books because he's hungry for knowledge. He's a young man.
Is he a Mason?
He's not a Mason. He's not a
Okay.
Mason. And he's a young man. And when he was like, he was just looking and like, man, and he was talking about you, admiring you. He's like, man, I just feel something talking to that brother. I ain't felt like that in a long time. And he said, I'm gonna buy the books because I was talking about the books and I guess from the videos he heard about the books, but he was asking me which book should he get first. He wanted the other book, the purple book. And I was like, nah, don't even start there. You're not even a Mason. Get the maturity through scriptures first. That's the foundation. And then
Indeed.
Then if you come along and come away, then get the other book. But definitely get this book. He still bought both of them, but he's reading the Masonic maturity through scriptures now. Like I sent him a video the other night. The brother called me and said, yeah, man, I'm getting ready to read it right now. He was just getting home. And I'm like, that's where you go. Any young man, if any young man come to me and talk to me, if they discover us on YouTube or whatnot, and they come to me, and that's the first thing I recommend. This one of my friends we were at a picnic. One of my lodges had a picnic in July. We came out. I showed him the books on my phone. I took pictures of them, had it on my phone. Go get them, and he went and bought the books. He's not a Mason. You know what I'm saying? These are just young men that are hungry for knowledge, and I recommend it. My son, I got a 28-year-old son. He hasn't written the book yet because I can't catch up with him. He lives in another town. But anything that he's going through in life, I guarantee if he read this book, it'll set him on the path that I think he should go. Instead of going all over the place trying to figure things out. This right here is a foundation. And I'm not just saying it, but it's one of those great works. Like how everybody talk about Albert Pike and things like that. 100 years from now, this book will be, in my opinion, be talked about in Masonic studies. I believe it.
Brother Mays, you I like his approach. He called me and said he was gonna read my book and then get in touch with me or call me back.
Yes, sir. I mean, I have the book with me, keep it with me. You know what I'm saying? I probably can't see it, but I keep the book with me. Man, Brother John, Brother Moore, Brother Al summed it up. It's a wonderful book. Wonderful book, man. I didn't know what to expect when I received the book. And I'm gonna tell you like this, this book is powerful, just starting my journeys, my travels. I read this book every day. I read a few pages every day just to understand where I'm at. So it definitely will assist you if you are a non-Mason and if you are a Mason, and it tends to be a little bit more powerful if you are a Mason or, working on your travels. So I agree with the brothers.
Now you said you read a few pages every day to understand where you are.
Yes.
That brings me to something that I think we have a lot of problems with, we as people. No one in particular, but all of us collectively or individually, and that is self-acceptance. Self-acceptance. Do you know, we mentioned truth, do you know who you are, where you are, what you have going for you, and what, more importantly, what are your weaknesses? Because we got to be able to accept ourselves as we are if we're going to improve. See, I believe that self-acceptance is the first step to building that foundation. So, well, let me back up. Let me correct myself. I think it's the second step. The first step is to try and get an understanding and understand our design, how we were put together, and our purpose. Because you always got to know first where you want to go. So if we can identify our purpose, then we have to figure out where we are. And that means we have to accept ourselves as we are. Does that make any sense to anybody? Okay, let me put it another way. If I want to go to California, Los Angeles, that's my goal. That's my purpose. Now I have to figure out where I'm starting from.
Right.
I'm in Houston, Texas.
Right.
I have $20 in my pocket. I have to accept the fact that I don't have what it takes to get to Los Angeles, California. Now, once I accept my situation, my condition, the point of where I am, now I can plan, strategize how to get the resources to get to LA. Okay, does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. You hear as a young man, people always in our community be talking about knowledge of self, right? And a lot of people, like, they throw that phrase out and they think it's just studying about ancestors, civil rights, Jim Crow, Reconstruction, whatever it may be. They think it's just studying that. When at the older I got, especially coming into the Masonic order, when I hear the term knowledge of self, it made me reflect on me, John Moore, the individual. Yes, all that other stuff that I can regurgitate for the world to know, to make everybody think that I'm somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, it may be important, but not as important, in my opinion, of knowing who I am right now today, September 24th, 2022. You know what I mean? Knowing, like you say, knowing your weaknesses. And this book, like, literally, it like when the brother said it's good for non-Masons and Masons, and it's more profound, especially if you're a Mason, because it sheds some light on some things, man, in you, the individual. Like, it really does. Like, it makes you really look at who you are, yourself.
I was actually, I'm gonna give my wife credit because she made the statement that everybody has 3 things that they would like to change about themselves. Y'all agree with that? Or think about it for a hot second. Some of it you might be able to change. Some of it you can't. If you 5'7" and you want to be 6'3", it ain't gonna happen. Okay. But the most significant changes are those that happen on the inside, internally. So think about that after we part. Are there 3 things that you would like to change about yourself that you can change? What was that prayer they used to say? Lord, give me the strength to change the things that I can change, and to accept the things I can't change the things I can change, and to recognize the difference. Have you all heard that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Okay,
Something similar
I
to
didn't. Wishful Master, help me out. How does it go? Because I think I just chopped it up.
I'm sorry, sir. You probably did better than I could ever do with that. But yes, I have heard that. But to back to your question about 3 things, I would love to hear the 3 things that your wife mentioned, but I know for me personally, there was way more than 3 things that I had to work on and try to change it. And I'm still in the midst of change, because every day we grow, and every day we learn, and every day we evolve. So there's always going to be something that needs to be tweaked in your life and in your thinking, especially if you're dealing with others within your family or outside of your family. But I also like to chime in regarding the book. I agree with everything that has been said thus far. Great words. I came in at Grant, as you know, on the book when I reached out to you after watching a couple of your videos, and we got the book, and I think you had decided at that point to start having the discussions about the book. I think I can't remember if we were meeting once a month or if it was every other week or something like that.
It's been a while,
but,
yeah.
Yes, sir. So my takeaway was, after reading the book, it helped me more with individuals that I deal with on a daily basis, and as well as myself. I tried not to look at it so much from a Masonic standpoint, because I've been walking that walk for quite some time. And I'm not saying that it didn't help there, but I saw that as an opportunity of using those words and those precepts to try to help my spiritual growth, and also to help others that I call myself helping. Like, I have 2 kids that I mentor, and that helped me tweak some things as I dealt with them. But as we were going through the book and having those discussions over the phone first, before Grant turned into this technological whiz and did Zoom, we were doing phone calls, and the discussions that we were having on the various sections within the book were beyond powerful. They were beyond powerful. And that's what helped fuel the fire with some of the guys in my life that I was trying to get involved in, to open their minds and open their hearts to new dialogue and new concepts that they can instill into their lives. So I believe, like all of us, Brian, thank you for taking that time and allowing the Lord to use you to put those words together and put that out for each and every one of us.
Well, thank you, sir. The whole idea is to obtain, maintain, and share a spirit of increase, because we say in the Masonic order that the Masonry is a progressive science. Well, the world is constantly moving. So if we stand still and dwell and deal with a problem, it is impeding, it's stopping our forward movement. And we should never, ever, ever, ever stop moving forward. Because everything is temporary, including happiness. So all of us are in the midst of something, or we just came out of something, or we just going into something. So when do you stop and stand still and deal with what you just came out of, or you gonna stop and deal with what you are in the midst of, or do you look forward beyond that? I use the analogy, old folks analogy, you can't see the forest for the trees. Well, we want to go out in the forest. Sage was talking about the squirrels and all that kind of good stuff out there in spring and so forth. Times get hard enough, boy, you're gonna have to shoot some of those and eat them. I know you don't know nothing about skinning squirrels and eating wild game, but it could get to that point. The bottom line is we have to be able to look past the forest, past the trees to the forest. We got to see the end before we begin, if that makes sense. If we're going to have a spirit of increase, we got to see the end result. And then we got to recognize where we're starting from. We have to accept ourselves, shortcomings, strengths, and weaknesses. And then I know I can go to Brother George, who's strong in what I'm weak in, and progress. Brother George, you had something to say.
Yeah, that prayer you was looking for, it's called a serenity prayer. And it goes like this. It says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
All right. And 9 times out of 10, the things you cannot change, what type of things are they? Oh yeah, this is good. Your lips moving, Brother Moore, but I can't hear you. Unmute yourself.
People, for one, you can't change other people.
Amen. That's one thing. Most of the time we get sidetracked, tied up, dealing with what other people say, do, or what they think, how they feel about us, and so forth. Can we change that? So why do we get hung up on it? Okay.
Ego for one, probably in most cases.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We talked about the 7 henchmen that the devil uses to hinder us. Okay. And really ego is one of those. Criticism, fear of criticism. Okay, we want to be liked by everybody. Is that going to ever happen? Here's what I submit to.
No.
Looking at the spirit of increase, especially video part 2, the first thing we got to do is identify our purpose. That comes back very often in terms of what we are supposed to do, what we have to do. The first thing we got to do is concentrate on our purpose. What is the purpose? What's our purpose? Why are we here? Now, here's a statement. Many of us have already taken the picture that's going to appear on our obituary. That picture's already been taken. Have y'all ever thought about that? Think about it. What picture have you taken of yourself that would be used on your obituary? It's already done.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay. So we got the picture. Now, what is going to be said that you've done for humanity, for mankind, for your family, your community? So what's going to go in the obituary? Oh, he was born. He went to this school. He was preceded in death by so-and-so. He leaves behind so-and-so. On your headstone, there's a date of birth,
Come on with the dash.
dash, dash, and a date of death. Date of birth, dash, and date of death. What does that dash say?
That's what we're doing right now. Meaning, when I say that's what we're doing right now, that dash represents our life, because
Okay.
there's two constants that we know for certain. Every man is born and every man will die. That dash represents the life that you live, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. So as we talk about purpose, that's why it's very imperative for each man, I believe, to find out what your purpose is and seek the Most High in that endeavor. So I'll say for myself, I learned a long time ago from watching my father live a life of servitude.
Okay.
And I, as a kid, and then as a young adult, or as a young man, I'm not gonna say as a young adult yet. I did it because I was forced to. That was just what I had to do, and we all had to follow our parents and do certain things. And then as I grew older, as a young adult, I found that it went from being something that I had to do as a chore to a calling, and it became a purpose, especially when I joined the Masons at the age of 21. I think it was 2021, something like that. And at that time, we talking the I think it might have been 90 or 91. We were really doing a lot of things. They still had a lot of the older guys. The founder of my lodge was still alive at the time, and those guys knew. They might not have been doing the things that I brought to them or what we're doing now, but helping someone, man, that was the ultimate thing to do,
Okay.
and helping people in the community, and also helping the brothers at the lodge. I mean, I remember at 21 years old, I'm like, man, what are y'all doing? We had a couple of brothers that was in the hospital and we doing shifts. I was like, look, I ain't signed up for this. What is this about? But that was a part of laying the foundation of servitude.
Okay.
And my purpose, I found that me helping others, not from a Masonic standpoint, but was laid, the foundation that was helped laid for me with my parents, helped me to see that I don't have much, but there's many people out there that have way less than I have. And to be able to give back and to try to help individuals and see people go from, as we say in Masonry, from a dead level to a living perpendicular and walking out on the square, not necessarily being in the organization, but lifting them into a better state of life, man, that was life-changing for me. So I knew that when all the while that I'm serving in the military, I still do my stuff in the community because I love it. I love giving back, and I know that when I get out of the military, that's where I'm going to be at. That's one of my purposes. My other purposes I've found, and that is to help try to be the best mentor that I can for others. I've never been the best parent. I have 3 sons. They haven't gone to jail. They haven't given me any problems. They still knuckleheads, but thank God they haven't done anything really out of the way. And I think
Okay.
I've had a hand in doing that, which that has allowed me to be able to do that with about 15 other young men throughout my lifetime. Purpose. And I know that not just because I want to seek that, it's because I believe the Most High has dealt with me in certain ways and put me in certain positions to be able to either, excuse my language, either shit or get off the toilet.
Okay.
And doing that, you know, I was able to find favor, and then I think and I feel that I'm providing favor back to the Most High by following what He has laid out for me as my purpose. So in closing with that, once you seek the Most High as you on your journey and you find your niche, your purpose doesn't have to be 20 things. It doesn't have to be 10 things. If you find one thing that you are good at and you know that you're making a difference in someone's life, that helps build your obituary, and that helps build that dash that we're talking about, and that becomes your life. And do it unselfishly and not for gratitude from anyone else. Do it from your heart and please the Most High.
Well, the principle says, give and ye shall receive. And for decades, I equated that to money.
Mm-hmm.
But it says simply give and ye shall receive. What that does tell us is that everyone has something to give. Even though I just came out of problems and turmoil, or I'm in the midst of it right now, or I'm heading towards something else, even in the midst of it right now, there's something I can give. Because the principle is true. It works. Give and ye shall receive. If we're not sowing into somebody else's life, then we are not sharing life.
Right.
Yes, correct,
Hello?
correct. Yes, sir. I think we have to go through some things, you know, and that's just life. You know, you can't teach what you don't know. You can't leave where you don't go. So all these situations and circumstances and these dark hours we find ourselves in, it's nothing more than tests and for us to prove ourselves and to uplift ourselves. That way we can be of use in the kingdom with other people. You know, like you say, it's not always money. It's mostly a lot about experience and what you've been through and your testimony, because you never know who's going through what and how you can help them. You know, so
Well, I'm going to say, brothers, that I'm going to be controversial here. With what you just said. You know, the tests and the challenges and the problems are designed or for us to prove ourselves. I'm going to say possibly they're for us to learn something.
Yeah.
So that we can share with somebody else.
no, that's exactly what I'm saying. You have to, once you go through that, you should be to learn something and be able to share that experience of where you were at and how you came through. And that should uplift them and give them encouragement as they're going through their storms. You're exactly right.
See, I believe, fellas, we all have the spirit of increase within us. We all have a touch of the Holy Spirit within us. We all have God within us, okay? The bottom line is, you take that Corvette, or Chevrolet Corvette, it has the power within its structure to go from 0 to 60 in 3.5, 4.0 seconds, or whatever the case may be. But if you don't hit the accelerator, you ain't gonna get it. If you just barely press it down, you're not gonna reach its full potential. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
You gotta hit that accelerator and burn some rubber, okay, in order to get that 4.0 seconds. I don't know what it is, but I know it's supposed to be fast. And my point is, within us, we have the spirit of increase. So what we got to do is activate it. Hello.
Yes, sir. It's kind of like charcoal, you know, it doesn't release its full potential of its power until it's ignited by fire. And so, yeah, you're exactly right. We got to, you know, do what we got to do to flip that switch on.
But man, I got problems now. My dog's sick, my cat's pregnant, my brother.
You always have problems. They ain't going nowhere. That's right.
At all. Hey, problems like bills, man.
I'm gonna be okay when I pay this light bill. You know, I don't know how I'm gonna pay it.
But once again, I don't say problems. You got opportunities, like you just said, to prove yourself. That's just another opportunity. You ask for this and you ask for that. You ask for patience, and I don't ask for patience no more. But you ask for these different things, and God's gonna give you tests to prove that.
You know, once these people quit messing with me, then I'm gonna be all right. I'm just saying what people say.
Yeah. Those are alibis, man.
Okay, alibis.
For real. It gives you a reason or an escape for not being or doing what's expected of you to do, not by others, but what you would need to be expecting of yourself to do. You know, when we come up with these excuses or these alibis and things like that, okay, well, I can't do nothing right now because I got to pay this light bill. You know what I mean? So that feels good, it's comfortable. So now I have an excuse to not be better at the moment.
So how do I get past the alibis, excuses, the reasons that I feel are justified, okay, for my not moving forward, not performing, not being able to do what I want to do? How do I get past it?
You got to start with like having the courage to look at yourself and the courage to get up and do something. If you want better, you got to have the courage to do better. You know what I mean? Because nothing's going to be given to us miraculously or magically or things like that. So if we examine anything in our lives from our past that we want and we need to get from point A to point B, you know, we had to look at, like you say, look at the starting point at point A and like, man, I got to get over here. And if I don't make that, if I don't have the courage to take that first step to do that, then I'm going to be stagnant.
Okay.
So you have to look at looking at the past and looking at those past trials and things like that, past circumstances. There's a lot of learning in those circumstances where anything that you have ever achieved, you realize, man, because it builds confidence for one that you overcame those things.
Right.
If you look at it, so you have a foundation. You know, when you face with something new, you have a foundation to build on. Well, here I am, just little old me, and I was able to get from that situation to the next situation. It wasn't effortlessly, you know what I mean? I did it. I felt bad. I was exhausted, but I did it. So now I have an experience and something to measure, a yardstick to measure myself on to go further. And the next step.
Sage, what you thinking?
Spirit of increase. You gotta seek the spirit. You gotta seek the Most High first, and tap into that spirit. You know, like you said, it's in us. But what do we do to build on it? You know, what do we do to build that spirit within us? You know, that's where it starts for me. It starts with the building process.
Okay. Sage, what's your point?
It all adds up. I'm sitting here and I'm actually just digesting, ingesting, and digesting the words of the dialogue and how it all adds up. Because at the end of the day, when you apply yourself, you actually have to acknowledge yourself. You actually have to take the time to tune into you, to look within you, to realize what you're missing. Because you're not actually missing anything. You just have a flaw in your technique. You know what I'm saying? You have to sit back and critique yourself. So I'm just sitting here and I'm listening. And it's just a lot of confirmations going on in my head. That's all.
Brother Imran? Okay, you got to unmute yourself. Talk to us.
You hear me?
Yes.
Well, what's going on, y'all? Well, since I've been here, listen to the videos, listen to the, advice. You actually have to put in the work. And the truth about myself, for real, I'm a big, I procrastinate a lot. So, if you don't do the work, ain't nothing getting done, period. So, you got to know what's important, know yourself, know who you are first. I have to realize who I am, so,
Well, how do,
that's,
let me say this. We all have that desire or a little procrastination in us, okay? But what happens, what counters the procrastination is what I call a burning desire. It's something that you have to have. You cannot live without it. It's kind of like breathing. Go ahead on and stop your breathing and see how long that lasts, okay? You gonna fight. If I try and stop your breathing, you're gonna fight to breathe. Well, that's how we should feel about accomplishing our purpose. Once we identify our purpose, I want to breathe. I want to breathe. Now you're gonna have a struggle on your hands if you try and keep me from breathing. So
Fervency.
I should not let you and your mindset stop me or hold me down. Okay, and I got to deal with truth. Jeremiah 7:23 says, "But this command I gave them: obey my voice, and I will be your God, and you shall be my people, and walk in all the way that I command you, that it may be well with you." What does being well with you mean? Now, this is a promise. If you obey the word and walk as God commands you, what does being well with you mean? I'm going to say it means you're going to be prosperous, and you're going to be affluent, and you're going to move forward. But see, we got to go back to basic principles and precepts, and we got to deal with truth. We got to deal with truth. So if you're dealing with truth, there's no room for procrastination. If I'm dealing with truth, what you say about me has little or no effect. Hello?
That's what I'm saying. I had to figure that out. So when I realized all that, and apply everything that I have learned, everything all the jewels that you guys have dropped, and I put it to use, my life has seemed a little bit better. I see, and it's just going through the test. You have to realize that everything in life is not as you don't run nothing. Period. You don't, and that was my thing too. You don't run nothing. You have somebody to answer to. So you definitely gotta love life, respect it, know what it is, know yourself, and put in the work, pray, meditate, so that's just what it's about right now, doing the right thing, knowing what is the right thing and doing the right thing,
Yep. I think also it's from a lack of fervency and zeal. Like we was talking about the other night, we gotta make sure that we keep that increase, because the way we start off a lot of times is not the way that we end up. And you can start out, running, taking out like a sprinter, and then but the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but to he that endured. And so we know that that fervency we have starting out, we need to keep that same intensity, that same enthusiasm for the Most High and for the Masonic institution. And then we have to let our zeal compel us to act.
Well, some people, again, something I heard many years ago is that we're supposed to maintain that childish spirit, because every one of you guys at 10, from 10 to 15, there was nothing you couldn't do.
Right.
You had big ones and you would try, if somebody asks you, could you do something, and you've never been around it before, you're gonna say yes. And you're gonna try and do it because you believe you can do it.
Yeah.
That's how we were as children. Now we're grown men.
And we operate off fear now. Caution. Caution is good, but to back up what you're saying, you know, we get to a certain age where when we don't have that childlike, you know, acceptance of things or that childlike belief, you know, we start making excuses with it. You know, I might want to do this because you might, but that looks difficult. I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Man, look, fellas, man is happiest when he's in the pursuit of something. Not when he got it, but when he's in the pursuit of something. So we have to have a vision. We have to have a dream in order to be happy. And then understand this. Sage, you got children? Okay. Everybody else on here, Imran, you got children?
Grown, they have 20,
Okay, that's good.
21.
Okay. See, here's the thing. Man, the male, is the bottom of the family. Everything hinges on the man. God blew breath in us, created us, blew his spirit in us, and sent us out to be fruitful and multiply. Who did he tell that to?
Adam, or the man.
Adam. Okay. Not Angela. Okay. Not Adrena. Every one of us was given the spirit of increase. But what we have allowed the world to do is to suppress it. So it's asleep within us. We got to wake it up.
Mm.
And you wake it up by identifying a purpose and having that burning desire. Because where we end, at the end of that dash, that becomes the foundation for future generations, for your children, your grandchildren. Okay? Hello?
Hey, Grant.
Yes.
If you can, just wanted to go back. Can you read that scripture again from Jeremiah, if you don't mind?
But this command I gave them, Jeremiah 7, verse 23. Obey my voice, and I will be your God, and you shall be my people. Now we're talking about a union here, right? A relationship.
Mhm.
And walk in all the way that I command you, that it may be well with you.
Awesome, thank you. So I submit this to us as we in this topic and transition. Those were the words from the Most High through the prophet Jeremiah speaking to the Israelites. And the Israelites, as you know, kind of rebellious. Well, let me use it in this vernacular. We, because I consider we as being the Israelites. We don't tend to do the things that we are supposed to do. So when Grant asked earlier about being well with you, if we attend to the commandments and get back to what the Most High Yah has already set before us, if we get back to that and follow those teachings and follow that law, we can be well. And I think Grant talked about being affluent and having abundant life, but also being well would be more of being at peace. And when you have peace, which I am still trying to find, when you have peace, there's so many things in your life that can come together. And when you abide in the shadows of in the temple of the Most High, you will find that peace. And all of these things that we're looking now to try to piece together, they will come together automatically once we surrender to the Most High and allow him to do just what he told Jeremiah to tell the people. Because again, his chosen people are rambunctious. You know, we do good when we're in trouble, we yell out for him. When things are going good, we don't even know the Most High. And
Yeah.
then, and then when we get in trouble again, we need a prophet to come and deliver us out of that trouble. So, and then also with that, you have to go back and study from, Jacob's name was changed, right? We all know that, correct? So if we know that Jacob's name was changed, his name was changed to Israel. Go and find out what Israel means. Find out what Israel means. And then you'll see why we tend to have the issues amongst ourselves that we have. But that doesn't mean that things can't be turned around if we don't submit. If we submit to his will and his way, everything in our life will turn for the better, and we will find that peace. We'll find abundant life. We'll find affluency, and have these opportunities not only for ourselves, but for those that we care about, and even for the stranger that dwell amongst us. So attend close to Jeremiah 7:23 and incorporate that into your life, and that will help change the mode that you may be in to a better future that we tend to look for.
See, our problems and situations have buried the goodness that was given to us at creation. And when I say creation, I'm talking birth. There was a seed of goodness and greatness deposited within each of us at birth.
As we were born in sin.
Go ahead, say what?
As we were born in sin.
Exactly. But we've allowed circumstances, troubles, people, and so forth to suppress it and keep it from growing.
Yes.
So we got to go back and nurture that seed of greatness. We got to be able to pick up that seed and awaken the spirit so that it rises and shines. And in order to do that, you're gonna have to ignore what you have in front of you. You got to ignore the trees. Now, this whole format is based or centered around, if you want to say it, the Masonic order, but this is just straight life.
It's life, right?
It's never about what happened to you. It's never about what somebody's done to you, how you've been treated, what somebody said about you. It's all about what you do after that's done. Because therein lies the seed of increase, the spirit of increase. So each step, everything we go through is designed to train our mind, body, and spirit. And why would we want our mind, body, and spirit trained? That was the question. Somebody can help me here so we can move forward. But, okay, so y'all just saying, I don't understand, huh? I don't understand where you are. I don't understand what all you fighting and so forth. Is that what you're telling me? Y'all quiet. Y'all quiet as a hooker in church. Okay. Come on, man.
Hey, man, Ray haven't made them noise.
I don't understand what y'all going through, right? I don't understand the problems. I don't understand how many people has raised up against you and so forth.
And but there are always people with more problems than you, man, or less fortunate than you. So there's no excuse. As long as you have you know what I'm saying, you have a sound mind, you know what I'm saying, you have access to all your limbs and things like that, there you can get up and change. My dad used to tell me all the time, man, and he'd be like, look, if you wake up, even if you get knocked down on your back, like literally somebody knocked you down, if you can look up, you can get up.
All right.
In boot camp, they tell you, you know, when guys begin smoked on the quarter deck or something like that, they like, you know, we begin pushed to our extreme and be like telling the drill instructor, oh, I'm gonna feint, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. He like, if you're talking, you can keep going. You know what I'm saying? So if you go faint, go ahead and faint. You know what I'm saying? Don't talk about fainting. You can keep going. So, you know.
See, fellas, no matter what is presented to us, no matter what those trees look like or what those trees are, the bottom line is we have a resource to guide us past the trees into the forest. The forest is where all the good stuff is. Okay? You can't get to the fruits, vegetables, nuts, the meat. You can't get prosperity unless you get past those trees. So you got to see the forest beyond the trees, and then you can get past the trees. Now, Proverbs 9:1 says that wisdom built her house on 7 pillars. Y'all need to go back and read that. Those 7 pillars. If you want to break all of this down to the very elementary stage, just employ the 7 pillars that wisdom used to build her house.
That's Proverbs what?
9:1. See, a lot of times this stuff is, we say people don't understand, is what it amounts to is we don't understand and we don't know how to take a step at a time. 7 pillars, 7 character traits can get you past whatever it is you're dealing with. Now that's in obtaining wisdom. And what is wisdom?
Knowledge translated into living, in my opinion. That's how I sum it up.
Okay. That sounds good. That sounds good. So once we've obtained that, because again, we're talking about the spirit of increase, we want to try and hold on to it. Remember, we were given a spirit. The Holy Spirit was put in us at birth, but it's been suppressed. It's been asleep. And so now should we manage to wake it up and raise it up, we got to maintain it, because again, the world, the devil, and our fleshy desires are going to shoot at it. So we got to try and maintain it. So how do we get it? How are we going to maintain it? Okay, let me back up. How do you get the spirit of increase? How do you maintain a mentality and a spirit of increase? How do you live? What 2 or 3 things you have to do in order to live, to be alive today? What 2 or 3 things did you have to do? Wishful Master Searle said it earlier. Okay, you got to breathe.
That's true.
You got to eat. Ooh.
Right.
I'm going to go there and say what came to my mind. Okay. I'm going to say, thank you, Jesus. Okay. You got to breathe. You got to eat. And you got to have bowel movement. Why bowel movement?
Get rid of the waste.
Amen. Okay. I wanted to say you gotta, okay. But bowel movements is much better to say. Now, Mays' eyes going back like and trying to figure out where is he going with this, I guess. I don't know.
Oh man.
But see, you get into the word of God to get wisdom. Okay? And the word of God, the wisdom that the Bible gives you, that your sacred book of law gives you, you gotta eat it as if you gotta read it and study it just like you breathe, just like you eat. Okay? Now, where does the bowel movement come in at? More, you said get rid of waste.
Right. That's after you eating everything. Had your full, your fill.
You got to get rid of those people, get rid of those things, get rid of the environment that is not conducive to your wisdom and your spirit of increase. So you got to flush some stuff.
Yes, and with that, to bring it back to the order, you just have to look at the rough Ashley and the perfect Ashley. That's the way that I see it. So,
Okay.
In order to be the perfect Ashley, in order to fit into the temple, you have to knock off those vices. It's the same thing.
Yep.
It's the exact same thing. And
So
go
you
back
gotta-
to your working tubes.
So you gotta breathe, eat,
And bowel movements.
okay? Because the only way you're gonna be able to breathe and eat more and more and more is if you have the bowel movement. Get rid of what you don't want to make room for what you do want. Come on, man. Does that make sense to you, Imran?
Yeah, it does. I
So
mean,
when
you've been telling
somebody
me this.
asks you, huh?
I mean, you've been telling me this for a minute now. So, it makes sense. Everything is up to you. If you don't do the necessary requirements to survive, you're gonna lose.
You gotta stay on track. Wishful Master Cyril says, we wind up in a pickle, we wind up with hard times and problems. We run to church, we run to the Most High and ask for relief and so forth. We get it, and then we're gone. We forget it until we get into another situation.
That's the truth.
But you eat every day, multiple times a day. You breathe constantly. So why do we seek refuge and relief, and once we get it, we disappear? The real spirit of increase comes with the third thing. First, we have to obtain it, we got to maintain it, and the real spirit comes alive in our sharing. That dash talks about how much you've shared with family, friends, people you've met, seen, know, the community, humanity. Sharing. That's where your real spirit of increase lies. Give and ye shall be, and ye shall receive. He that waters shall he himself one day be watered. A man's stomach shall be filled by the fruit of his lips. You gotta give away something if you intend to increase.
Yes, the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 9, he made it plain when we talk about giving generously. He basically said, whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. And whosoever sows prosperously, excuse me, prosperously will also receive prosperity. So it's just like in, what I tell, and I'm sure many of you probably have said to your kids, you only can get out of your bank account what you put in.
I still got checks.
Huh?
Mhm.
You gotta sow good seeds,
That's the way some people feel. I must have money in the bank because I still have checks.
No,
Right. That's not reality. That's not truth.
See, again, I submit to you that the real solution to any situation we have lies in our degree of sharing. The spirit of increase lies in the degree with which we share with others. Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen the countenance of his friend.
That's right.
He who tends the fig tree will eat its fruit, and he who cares for his master will be honored. What does that mean? See, you started something by being your brother's keeper. And so you start that process, okay? That's what the Masonic order is all about. It's about that process of being concerned about your brother and treating him as a second self. Now, if you are constantly worried, constantly dealing with your situation, you're going to constantly deal with your situation. Let me say that again. I want you to understand what I'm trying to say. If you are constantly worried and worried about and dealing with your situations, you will be constantly dealing with your situation. I'm saying a couple of things there, okay? Number one, you're going to be stuck dealing with that situation because that's all you're looking at. Number two, you're not going to move forward because you're stuck with that situation. The way to get unstuck is to share some goodness that you have. And it could be as much as as little as a kind word, a word of encouragement. Because there is something called blessings and curses. And it says, again, give and ye shall receive. Y'all awfully quiet. These
Listen, this is heavy, man. Like, this is like really making us think, or at least me today.
see, we're coming up on the end of a year. We're about to enter the last quarter of 2022. So the question is, what have you done in 2022? The bigger question is, what are you going to do in 2023? See, these videos were handled or published the end of 2020 and into 2021. And I said then that 2021 or 2020 was a doorway, okay? And you should prosper in those years, 20 and 2021. I'm gonna tell you, God was good to me because I didn't lose any weight. Okay. I tell people quick, I got $2 in my pocket and 3 in the bank. I'm happy. I'm good. I'm moving forward. And I'm up and at it. I can do everything I used to do. I did 40 years ago. Can't do it as much. Can't do it as fast. I can kick, can't kick as high, but I can still kick. And when you move forward in truth, you actually perpetuate your life. You actually enjoy the spirit of increase. You receive the benefits of spirit of increase by moving forward and helping somebody along the way. Now, what is 2023 going to be like for you? Sage, you out there with your uncle helping him get his house together. You gave us a peek into out the window with the swimming pool and so forth. When is it going to be your turn? I'm just messing with you, but I want you to think about it. You follow me?
Yes, sir.
How do you
think
get
about
to the
that every
point?
day.
Yeah, how do you get to the point of having the swimming pool in your backyard? And man, I'm gonna tell you, I had it. Got room for one right now, but I'm not, at my age, I'm not getting a pool out there because I'm not gonna use it. But I remember having one, and in the morning, I would fix my coffee and sit at the window and just look out over that blue water. And you talking about revelations coming to you from God, figuring out what you did wrong, did right, should do, shouldn't have done, and so forth. Just that private time looking over that water is powerful. Anyway, now, so what are we doing here, fellas? We're trying to establish some unity, and we want to pull for each other. Have y'all ever heard the term mastermind?
Yes.
Mastermind is when men get together or people get together and they root, pull, and aid and assist one another. That is basically what the Masonic Order is all about. Robert Searles is in the U.S. Air Force. I sell insurance burial plan. George is doing going to, what is he doing? What
Electrician and
Okay.
pilot.
Okay. And so the bottom line is, even though we are not in the same vocation, occupation, we can pull for one another. I might have a need that George can fulfill. He might have something that he needs done that Worshipful Master Searles can help him with. So we all are for one another. As iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen the countenance of his friend. That means we are dwelling in unity. And when we dwell in unity, we elevate ourselves. Now that's what the Masonic Order is all about. It's a mission, or the mission of Masonry is to get us involved in a ministry of helps. There's no room for selfishness. Ooh, 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 ooh. And if you only thinking about your problem, you being selfish. Did I hit you upside the head with that one?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Come on, man.
Absolutely.
Y'all, I don't know. We need to keep on doing these. Worshipful Master Searles. These. I'm gonna say I'm old. Okay, these boys quiet.
Listen, brother, you on a roll this morning, man. It was a saying I used to hear all the time back when I was running with the nation. They were like, a master craftsman takes a sword. How do you create a sword? You take this piece of metal and burn out the dross, and you beat it with a hammer and you shape it through the furnace and the fire, man. And that's what these videos right here, man, are doing. That it's checking us, man.
It's molding.
Out. These videos are calling us out, man.
Well, you know, I mean,
This series, yes, this series.
I do think, and I've been feeling this recently over the past couple of sessions that we've had. This, unbeknownst to me, but spirit led, has been building.
Right.
Okay, it's been building. As Worship Master Searle said, you're gonna either have to piss or get off the pot.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, you're gonna say I'm a man or I'm not.
Right.
Because see, as we move through this, you get more and more of a definition of what being a man is. Now, I'm not saying we're perfect, but we're gonna hold ourselves up to a higher standard. And we're gonna get rid of what Brother Moore said earlier, those alibis. See, it's easy for me to blame something on Imran. Imran did this, so I can't do this. Imran did. No, Sooner or later, I have to own up to my neglect, inability, unwillingness to move forward. I didn't hear y'all. Boy, y'all still quiet on me.
That's true. That's true.
Man, it's heavy, man. It's a heavy topic, man.
Yes.
You know, but with that, Grind, you know, when you realize what you're basically saying is talking about our faults. And when you realize what your faults are, you can use that as a stepping stone to make yourself better. Because if you say, well, all right, well, I have a inability of time management, and I'm always missing deadlines, or I'm telling my son that hey, I'm gonna do this with you on Tuesday, and then I forget, or you have a certain time setting, and you keep missing those things, and you realize that, and if you're true enough to yourself to realize that you're making these mistakes, then you can sit down and actively control that and say, all right, well, this is a bad seed, and take that bad seed and chunk it and find a way to figure out how to be better at time management. And if you can't do it yourself, then that's where you reach out to your brothers, or you reach out to someone else that can assist you with that. But that is the first step, I believe, of making yourself better, is recognizing your defaults, or recognizing the things that's bad with you, and being willing enough and being man enough to be able to correct it. Because just as you are a man, you have a young man or a young lady that's under you, that's looking at you
That's
and
right.
paying attention to you. And if you don't correct and adjust yourself for yourself, even if you don't say a word to that child, they're watching.
Right.
So
Lead
you
by
have
example.
to sit down and be honest with yourself and find your faults. And there's nothing wrong with it, because we all have them. Some have more than others. And even, some might not have that many, but that fault might be humongous. But you have to be willing to sit down and pick yourself apart. Find that bad seed, throw it out, fix it, get someone to help you fix it, and then move on, because somebody is watching you all the time.
And see, the other thing that you do in a mastermind group, and even in the Masonic order, is you have to be willing to be held accountable. I don't know if you've been in the military, the unit is supposed to do thus and such, especially in boot camp. Okay, basic training.
One fails, all fail.
If I mess up, the whole squad pays the price. Okay? If I don't do my job, everybody have to do the dying cockroach. You know what the dying cockroach is?
No, what's that?
Okay, well, when we get off this phone call, I want you to get on the floor, on your back, and raise your hands up and your feet up. And you stay that way.
Put your weapon in your hand.
You stay that way until I call you,
Right.
okay? See how long you stay that way. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Simple yet effective.
Yeah, simple but effective, because everybody else in that squad is gonna look at you some kind of way. You making us pay a price for your problem. Hello.
Hmm.
And let me say this, when we procrastinate, when we don't do what we say we're gonna do, okay, somebody is paying a price for our ineffectiveness. It might be your son, your daughter, your wife, your neighbor. Somebody is going lacking. So accountability is key. Now, bottom line is we get the ego trip, go on the ego trips and all that kind of good stuff. But you know what? The world is built off of stars and candles, and they both cast light. Okay? So everybody's not going to be a big star, but you put enough candles together and you still can light up a room. Okay? See, here's the deal, fellas. We're called into service, not title. Okay? And you only get a title to determine or to denote what your service is supposed to be. Now, when you handle service at this level and handle it efficiently, become worthy and well qualified, then you move to this level. That means you can solve more problems. You become worthy and well qualified at that level, then you move to that level. Your titles denote what you do, what your job classification is, which for Master Searles is what? I don't know about Air Force. What's the levels in Air Force? What's your rank? What's your rank?
E7.
E7. Okay, and you start off at an E1.
E1.
Okay, you understand so E7s have much more responsibility. But how did he get there?
Progressing through each level.
2, 3, 4. He got there step by step.
Yeah, and with that, Grant, that's a great analogy because, this just came to me. But as we're talking about the ranks in the military, you go from E1 to the max at E9 on the enlisted side, and from E1 to E6 in most branches, and I can only speak solely on the Air Force. You're a worker bee. You go from a young airman, to a senior airman, of being like what used to be called a buck sergeant, just getting into the non-commissioned officer corps, and then you become a staff sergeant and then a technical sergeant. You're actually putting in a lot of work. But once you get to that E7 to that E9, man, life changes, man.
You ain't doing nothing now. Is that what you're telling me? You're telling us you don't work hard.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the responsibility now switches from being more of a worker bee to a full servant, because you have young men and young women between E1 and E6 that are almost like your children, because you have to be responsible for them. You have to make sure that they grow into a NCO, into your position. And it's similar to the Masonic organization that most of us are affiliated with, because once you come in as a candidate and you become a bench brother, you learning and you studying, you doing all this stuff. But if you aspire to get to a worshipful master position, everybody try to look at that title and say, "Oh man, that's a that's where I want to be at." But you don't know behind the scenes, man. That like we say in the lodge, that column never goes down. You got 3 columns in there. 2 of them go up and down at any point in time. That one that's in the east, it's always up, which means it's always working, which means that it's always serving. You become the master servant within that organization. So that's why I wanted to share.
Very good, very good. Fellas, so at this point, Brother Mays, talk to us real quick, and then we're gonna cover the last video.
Oh, and in our 10 Decalogues, it tells one commandment is to say little and hear much. So man, I'm just listening to the wisdom, man. I'm just listening and learning at this point. It's been deep. It's been a lot of revelation on this mastermind, and I'm just sitting back listening.
Okay, Brother Imran.
Well, I'm gonna close with this. I appreciate you guys, the knowledge, the wisdom, and it do work. Believe me. Now I'm reading, writing business, actually writing up my business proposal, trying to get this restaurant thing on the road too. Put some money together. Right now, like you said, I'm weeding out all the negative, all the bad, anything that's not conducive to my life. It's out the window. Friends, places, just put it in the work. Do a lot of reading, analyzing everything in my life. If this doesn't make sense, let it go. Because at the end of the day, you control what you do, accountability. So if I sit here and I don't do nothing, you get nothing. 0 from nothing, leave nothing. So at the end of the day, you got to put in that work.
Here's another thing. God plus 0 equals 0.
So you put in no work. If you don't pray, you don't meditate, you get nothing out of it.
Sage the Great.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I've been sitting here being studious for the simple fact I come seeking information. So this information it's going to be applied, because you asked me a question, what do my 23 look like? It starts now. Everything is aligning just so I can act on it, because I'm to the point to where thinking doesn't get nowhere. Action must be inclinated in order to make it happen, And I've been taking this time to help everybody around me. I'm looking at everybody's success, and I'm happy for everybody in my circle because everybody doing good, and I know where I'm coming from. So for them to actually reach the place where they've been seeking, where they've been dreaming, looking for their purpose, they let me know I'm on the right track by being right where I'm at right now, taking in all this information.
Okay. Well, see, as we started off, we said you got to identify your purpose. You got to know where you want to go. So what is it you want December of 2023? Now, I used to do this process of evaluating my year and planning for the next year around my birthday, which is in the middle of December. I'd spend that 2 weeks kind of getting it all together. But as I got older, I started realizing that wasn't the smartest way to do it. So I start the beginning of the last quarter. I start thinking about the next year in October. Okay. And one of the things, again, you gotta become aware of yourself. So you gotta become aware of your surroundings. The last video we're gonna talk about for a few minutes is In the Midst of Babylon. Let me summarize Babylon this way. In many ways, America began to take on the character of Babylon. Fear, greed, corruption, okay? And Babylon has 7 henchmen to ride and rule over the land. It's greed, revenge, egotism, suspicion, jealousy, intolerance, and then there's a personal issue that we have. Each of us have. It could be dishonesty, it could be procrastination, it could be addiction of some type. But those 7 henchmen are constantly coming at us. That's in the midst of Babylon. And we got friends and so forth that help feed them. So the job of these henchmen is to ride through the land and infect people with their poisonous ideas. Again, how do you counter those fiery darts, those poisonous bites that people and those 7 henchmen send your way?
Positive thinking, positive thinking. Stay prayed up,
Exactly.
positive thinking.
Study and work.
Yep.
Study what?
You got to study your VSL, study yourself, and then you got to go to work. Got to put take what you're learning and apply it.
Any other comments? I mean, these are some tough men coming at us, brother. Greed, revenge, egotism, suspicion, jealousy, intolerance. And then we got one that we ain't telling nobody about.
Mm.
Procrastination, dishonesty, addiction. We ain't telling nobody about that part.
Hmm.
Those are some tough enemies, some tough foes.
Yeah, one thing with that is you got to know yourself is how you want to be projected, in life. So if you, just sit there and think about if you doing something that's dishonest and how somebody's going to look at you, you know what I'm saying? Can you live with yourself? See what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you always got to understand, like you got to know that you always want to project that positivity, that light, that good energy. So, when people look at you or they see you there, that's good energy, it's a good person, put in that good deed at all times. Sometimes you don't have to watch the dollar, you just do it because it's in your heart to do so, but that's just what it is,
Okay.
Always thinking of positive light.
Brother Mays, you were about to say something. I saw you lean forward.
Yeah. For the previous point, I was gonna say, work, pray, and have patience.
The benefit of living this long is that you hear so much growing up and growing old, and it just comes back to you. You reminded me of the 2 buzzards sitting on the telephone wire, and they were hungry. And one buzzard said, "Man, I'm hungry." And the other one said, "Well, man, just be patient. Something's gonna die." And the first one said, "Patience, hell, let's kill something." Okay. I'm gonna say, decide, pray, work, and then do it again. Decide, pray, work. You gotta keep that decision first and foremost in front of your face. You gotta keep that in first and foremost in the front of your brain, that desire. Imran, you're talking about setting up a restaurant. It's gotta be right here. You gotta have to have it. When is it gonna open? What day have you set? I'm not asking you. I'm just saying that rhetorically or whatever.
Yeah.
What day is the restaurant going to be open? It's going to be open. It is December or October 22nd, 2024. My restaurant is opening this day. You got to set it up here because you got those 7 henchmen in the world that's going to come after you. You got to make a decision, and you got to make that decision right. Now, how does shakers and movers make their decisions right? A shaker and mover is gonna make a decision, then he's gonna make his decision right. How do they do that? When you decide you're gonna have your own business, October 24th, 2024, how do you make that decision manifest itself?
Write it down first.
You're always gonna speak it to existence.
You definitely have to see it, man. You have to take something out the playbook of Habakkuk. When you look at Habakkuk 2 and 2, it simply says, when you get that revelation, you write it down on the tablet so that it'll be always before you. And from that point, you start working your plan. You plan your work and work your plan.
Excellent. See, he mentioned that 4-letter word. That it's a couple of 4-letter words that we don't like as people. But he just mentioned one that is necessary to make that dream, that desire manifest itself. And that's WORK. Don't you ever say, I procrastinate. Because if you say it, you owning it. If you say, I don't know, if you say it, you're owning it. Okay, but Herbert, some things I don't know. You know where to get the answer?
That's where the work comes in. You got to
There you
work
go.
to find the
Yeah. Yes, sir. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things shall be added to you. As long as you lining up all of your undertakings and you seeking the Most High, before you get started, He'll sustain you. If that's what you're supposed to be doing, and if it's lining up with His will, and if it's not, then maybe it's not for you.
Well, the thing
also,
about it is you're not gonna know everything, but you need to know where to get.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And that's where this body of men come in handy at. Let me say this to you, fellas. Last 3 things. There are 3 things that people generally seek in their lives, and there are 3 things that will benefit every one of us. Number 1 is to believe. To believe is to accept as true. The bottom line is we're not going to get too much done. We're not going to do anything positive if we do not operate on truth. There's only one real, true source of truth. And you got to decide that you are going to rely and stand on that one true source of truth. Everything else is fickle. Now, if the question came to your mind, what is the one true source of truth? If that question came to your mind, then you really need to do a little research. Okay? You need to come up with that answer. Okay? The second thing that people seek and benefit from is being attached. Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen the countenance of his friend. Solomon answers the question, why here? In Ecclesiastes chapter 4 with the real truth, we cannot dispute that 2 are better than 1. To be attached, 2 is better than 1. But you gotta be willing to walk, as Proverbs 13:20 says, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. So now if you're still dealing with a fool in your life, guess what you're gonna become? A fool. Okay? You breathe, you eat, and you get rid of the food. Okay. The third thing that benefits man in obtaining, maintaining, and sharing the spirit of increase is to become, okay? Come into existence, to undergo a change purposefully, okay, in your life. You got to focus on it. You got to do it on purpose, okay? 1 Kings 2:2 says, the Lord has plans for welfare and not evil, to give us a future and a hope. But even the promises of God, I submit to you, are not free. So you can holler that pray all you want to. I'm sitting in this nice, comfortable office chair, and I can pray to high heaven. What's going to come to me?
Nothing if you don't go to work, right?
Exactly.
Okay? Everything costs something.
Right.
So you got to think right, you got to speak right, and you got to act right. Any questions?
Just a comment. I've agreed with everything that's been said. It's been a beautiful discussion. I've always like to be able to come with the brothers and be able to glean. But one thing, as I was talking to Brother Kenneth, Tony Cowles last night, I just want to put this on everybody's mind. He lost his brother, and they're actually burying him today. I prayed with him yesterday, but we could just, you know, give him a call in your spare time, let him know what you think about it, maybe have a word of prayer.
Okay.
All righty. All right, y'all have a good one. I gotta get out of here. But that's all I want to say.
Sounds good. We're going to start with Brother Imran, short words, so we can get out of here.
I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, man. The knowledge and the wisdom. I'm doing okay, and I hope that you know, life come with Monday more blessings for every which way for every one of us, and you know, pass it on.
Okay, Sage.
Appreciate and I'm gracious to be amongst you brothers to take in this lecture because it is very, 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 very inspirational as well as food for the soul. It gives me a spark to do better, to be better, because at the same time I'm seeking to be all the above. You know what I'm saying? So I truly, truly thank y'all for allowing me to commune with you guys today.
Okay, Brother Mays.
Yes, sir. United we stand, divided we fall. That's all I have.
Can't argue with that. Brother Moore.
Brother, I feel like I've been chastised today, brother. Oh, I'm sitting over here quiet, man. I'm thinking.
I've been told Tony Hawkins out of California, he said,
Yeah.
I'm such a nice guy. I'm mild-mannered, I'm even tempered. I don't get excited. He says, you know, he says I'm just a not all around nice guy. I'm so soft-spoken on these videos.
But these words, though, soft spoken or not, they powerful, man. These lessons and this content it's like physically, man, burning something inside me. You know what I mean? Like the way it got me thinking. You know what I mean?
I hear you. So, any comments on what we talked about, the spirit of increase and so forth?
Let's go to work.
Yeah. If you don't put in the work, you won't receive the benefits.
Exactly.
Wishful Master Searles.
Hey, yes, sir. Again, good morning to everyone. Another powerful meeting. I apologize once again for missing you guys the last 2 times. I've been looking forward to this, and this was, as Brother Moore said, a very, very powerful conversation today. So
Yeah.
what we have to take away from this is, you know, what the Most High said, what Yeshua said, don't just be hearers of the word, we have to be doers. So now let's take this information that we have imported into our life, and I think someone said, let's get to work. You know,
Yes, sir.
we all have improvements we have to make, and not only on ourselves, but to assist someone else, because that's what life is about. Maya Angelou said this, and I have it on my vision board in my office. She said, when you get, give.
Yeah.
When you learn, teach. Go to work. Thank y'all. Have a wonderful day.
Yes,
Be blessed.
sir. Yes,
You
sir.
too,
I
brother.
appreciate it, fellas. And look, I'm gonna send out the next first thing that came to my mind. Wish for Master Sarah. Okay. Faith without works is dead. All right. Copy that. All right. I'm gonna send out the next list of videos, which is gonna be talking about how we should meet one another, act, and part from one another. And then we got the impact of Freemasonry on your life, okay? So I'm gonna say to you guys, listen to these videos when you get them. Listen to them a couple of times. This is where we're at the point now where the rubber meets the road, okay? And in any mastermind group, if you sit back and listen and don't participate, then you're cheating the other participants. See, progress is based on everybody putting forth an effort, opening your mouth. There's some experiences you've had that others can benefit from.
Yes.
Okay? Because in life, almost there's no right or wrong. Okay? Almost. I say almost. Because out of everything, we learn something. You follow me?
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna send that next set of videos off, and it starts off with how do Masons meet? 3 principles of engagement. Okay. And of course, what Masons do is good for all men, as some of you have said. We treat all men the same. Okay. Any
Yes,
other
sir.
comments?
No, sir.
All right, man. I love this, and I need y'all to participate next time so I don't talk so much. Y'all worked the brother today.
It was informative, though, brother. It was informative.
So have a good one, and anybody that views this recording, hopefully you got something out of it. And don't forget to support us by going to Amazon.com and purchasing our books. By the way, this is now available in the Romanian language. So
wow.
It's been published and it's on Amazon in the Romanian language. So we're moving internationally with that book. Okay. Thank you very much, fellas. Call me if you need me. If I want to talk to you, I will answer. Okay. And if I don't answer,
it'll keep ringing.
Yeah. Okay. Y'all have a good one.
You too, brother.
All
All right, brothers. Love y'all, man.
Love y'all.
Pretty much.